Continue reading Bhagavad Gita as it is by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Chapter 14, text 19. Nanyam gunebhya kartaram yada drastanupashyati gunebhyascha param vethi mad bhavam so adhigacchati. Translation purport by Prabhupada. When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord, who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. One can transcend all the activities of the modes of material nature simply by understanding them properly, by learning from the proper souls. The real spiritual master is Krishna, and he is imparting this spiritual knowledge to Arjuna. Similarly, it is from those who are fully in Krishna consciousness that one has to learn this science of activities in terms of the modes of nature. Otherwise, one's life will be misdirected. By the instructions of a bona fide spiritual master, a living entity can know of his spiritual position, his material body, his senses, how he is entrapped, and how he is under the spell of the material modes of nature. He is helpless, being in the grip of these modes, but when he can see his real position, then he can attain to the transcendental platform, having the scope for spiritual life. Actually, the living entity is not the performer of different activities. He is forced to act because he is situated in a particular type of body conducted by some particular modes of nature. Unless one has the help of spiritual authority, he cannot understand in what position he is actually situated. With the association of a bona fide spiritual master, he can see his real position, and by such an understanding, he can become fixed in full Krishna consciousness. A man in Krishna consciousness is not controlled by the spell of the material modes of nature. It has already been stated in the 7th chapter that one who has surrendered to Krishna is relieved from the activities of material nature. For one who is able to see things as they are, the influence of material nature gradually ceases. Gunan etan atityatrin dehi deha samudbhavan janma mritu jara dukhair vimukta amrita asnute. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. How one can stay in the transcendental position even in this body is full Krishna consciousness. In full Krishna consciousness is explained in this verse. The Sanskrit word dehi means embodied. Although one is within this material body, by his advancement in spiritual knowledge, he can be free from the influence of modes of nature. He can enjoy the happiness of his spiritual life even in this body, because after leaving this body, he is certainly going to the spiritual sky. But even in this body, he can enjoy spiritual happiness. In other words, a devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the sign of liberation from material entanglement. And this will be explained in the 18th chapter, when one is freed from the influence of the modes of material nature, he enters into devotional service. Arjuna Uvacha Khair lingais trin gunan etan atito bhavati prabho kim achara katham chaitam trin gunan ati vartate. Arjuna inquired, O my dear Lord, by which symptoms one is known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is the behavior, and how does he transcend the modes of nature? In this verse, Arjuna's questions are very appropriate. He wants to know the symptoms of a person who has already transcended the material modes. He first inquires of the symptoms of such a transcendental person. How can one understand that he has already transcended the influence of modes of material nature? The second question asks how he lives and what his activities are. Are they regulated or not regulated? Then Arjuna inquires of the means by which he can attain the transcendental nature. That is very important. Unless one knows the direct means by which one can be situated always transcendentally, there is no possibility of showing the symptoms. So all these questions put by Arjuna are very important, and the Lord answers them. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Prakasam cha pravritim cha moham eva cha pandava na dvesti sampravarthani na nivrathani kanksati udasina vad asyo gunair ya na vichalayate gunavartanta iti evam yo avatisthati nengate sama dukha sukha swastha samolostasma kanchana tulya priya priyo dhiras tulya nindatma samastuthi mana pa manayos tulyas tulyam mitrari pakshayo sarvaram bha parityagi gunatitha sa uchate. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment and delusion, and when they are present, or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal toward the desirable and the undesirable, who is steady, situated equally, well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities, such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. Arjuna submitted 3 different questions, and the Lord answers them one after another. In these verses, Krishna first indicates that a person transcendentally situated has no envy and does not hanker for anything. When a living entity stays in this material world embodied by the material body, it is so to be understood that he is under the control of one of the 3 modes of nature. 3 modes of material nature. When he is actually out of the body, then he is out of the clutches of the material modes of nature. But as long as he is not out of the material body, he should be neutral. He should engage himself in the devotional service of the Lord, so that his identity with the material body will automatically be forgotten. When one is conscious of the material body, he acts only for sense gratification. But when one transfers the consciousness to Krishna, sense gratification automatically stops. One does not need this material body, and he does not need to accept the dictations of the material body. The qualities of the material modes in the body will act, but as spirit soul, the self is aloof from such activities. How does he become aloof? He does not desire to enjoy the body, nor does he desire to get out of it. Thus, transcendentally situated, the devotee becomes automatically free. He need not try to become free from the influence of the modes of material nature. The next question concerns the dealings of a transcendentally situated person. The materially situated person is affected by so-called honor and dishonor offered by the body, but the transcendentally situated person is not affected by such false honor and dishonor. He performs his duty in Krishna consciousness and does not mind whether a man honors or dishonors him. He accepts things that are favorable for his duty in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, he has no necessity of anything material, either a stone or gold. He takes everyone as his dear friend who helps him in execution of Krishna consciousness. And he does not hate his so-called enemy. He is equally disposed and sees everything on an equal level. Because he knows perfectly well that he has nothing to do with material existence, social and political issues do not affect him. Because he knows the situation of temporary upheavals and disturbances, he does not attempt anything for his own sake. He can attempt anything for Krishna, but for his personal self, he does not attempt anything. By such behavior, one becomes actually transcendentally situated.